Lord Baron, what shall we do with this food? Ermin inquired. Raymond pondered for a moment, then replied, just take it out and sell it at a low price. Low price. Ermin's eyes widened and a bitter smile appeared. Everyone knows how inexpensive food is, but the issue lies in the selling price. Food yields substantial profits. The earnings are at least 3 to 4 times greater. So this is essentially equivalent to giving it away free of charge. There is no distinction. As a tax collector, he truly felt regret over the Baron's extravagant actions. However, this time he learned his lesson and refrained from asking inappropriate questions. Besides, it was all sourced for free anyway. It's a complimentary gift. It no longer matters. I understand, Lord Baron, I will take care of it immediately, Ermin said and hurried away to assemble the team for the donation. At the same time, Pogren approached Raymond and spoke respectfully. Lord, the other items are in the warehouse. Would you like to inspect them? Pogren inquired. Lead the way. Raymond responded without hesitation. Shortly after, they reached a small warehouse that was devoid of food, but inside were several ordinary black boxes. Raymond opened the first box to reveal copper coins, silver coins, and gold coins. Lord, there are roughly 5 gold coins, over 300 silver coins, and more than 20,000 copper coins here. Pogren quickly added from the side. Raymond remained silent as he opened the second and third boxes. The second box contained some decorative items that seemed valuable, along with a book on combat skills. Raymond picked it up for inspection, discovering that it was a level 3 combat skill book, with maximum power comparable to a level 3 intermediate professional. He could only describe it as ordinary and fairly acceptable. Furthermore, its name was quite ordinary as well, Storm Sword Skills. Raymond tossed it back, then shifted his gaze to the third box, unable to suppress a squint and a laugh. Because it was filled with numerous items. Various kinds of monster cores. Lord, there are 2 level 3 magic cores, 8 level 2 magic cores, and over 30 level 1 magic cores. Pogren announced. Yes, excellent work. Ha ha ha. Raymond could not help but laugh. He hadn't anticipated that the army of the Temple Castle, which he had longed for, would gradually begin to take form in this manner. Although the highest level is merely a level 3 magic core, what he needs now is quantity. Almost 40 magic cores is more than sufficient for him to establish a large-scale Temple Castle army. Thinking of this, he no longer hesitated, he walked straight toward those magic cores. At the same time, the familiar and pleasant system prompt sound immediately chimed. Ding. Recruitment resources detected. Would you like to enlist level 1 ordinary soldiers, Templar pikemen? Ding. Recruitment resources detected. Would you like to enlist level 1 enhanced troops, the Templar halberdier? Ding. Recruitment resources detected. Would you like to enlist level 2 ordinary soldiers, Templar archer? Recruit. Recruit. Recruit them all for me. Raymond commanded without hesitation. Then, in an instant, numerous figures appeared out of thin air in front of him. The current strength of the Temple Castle army has finally started to take shape. It included 2 Templar marksmen, 4 Templar archers, 8 Templar halberdiers, and 36 Templar pikemen. Comfortable. This wave will skyrocket. Raymond exclaimed excitedly. The formation of an army implies that his control over Greystone Village will be significantly improved. Furthermore, with the next so-called bandit group's attack, he is completely unafraid, not to mention anything else, just the 4 Templar archers present. Anyone who dares to challenge them will perish in 1 shot, 4 will fall in 2 shots, and 8 will fall in 2 as well. Just a group of robbers. Even 20 or 30 individuals are already exceedingly formidable. Beyond that, there is the Templar marksman Sheen, who is comparable to a level 4 professional. Everyone stands equally under the long-range firepower, and their unit possesses the capability for double strikes. It's as if 1 equals 2, 1 kill means taking down 2. Considering this, even if the so-called Red Knight bandits truly launched a full-scale attack, he remains fearless. The question remains, they are stronger. My strength resides in me, so I will not panic at all. In reality, he now harbors a more zealous and wild ambition in mind, a bandit group. Why not explore the path of becoming a robber instead? After all, this banditry of taking lives and seizing goods is quite lucrative. The golden belt of murder and arson yields substantial riches through looting. Just this opportunity, he was genuinely relishing the thrill. As he contemplated this, the notion in his heart became clearer and more resolute. At night, Greystone Village remains tranquil. The streets are devoid of people, and there is an absence of street lights or illumination. Most residents stay at home, with a few exceptions. Although Greystone Village is small, it possesses its own distinct character. The eastern part of the town is affluent. This area is primarily occupied by businessmen and minor nobles. At this moment, many individuals have gathered at the residence of a prominent grain merchant. The lights are shining brightly. Damn, this is infuriating. What was that foolish baron thinking? Why did he dare to increase our taxes? And he actually had the audacity to kill Grant. Is he seeking his own demise? Bang! 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 Shouted an enraged grain merchant, expressing his fury by pounding on the table. Not only was he upset, but those present also shared his sentiments. Their faces reflected intense anger, and some even exhibited a fierce gaze. It appears they harbor murderous thoughts. For these businessmen, the pursuit of profit and wealth is paramount. An increase in taxes is intolerable to them, but even more outrageous is the fact that the idiotic baron has had the nerve to decrease the taxes for those peasant scum. What does that signify? Taking their money and provisions to support those detestable outcasts. This is unacceptable. It's sheer madness. What should our next move be? No, I will hike up the food prices, and I'll make them all starve. The merchant with glasses exclaimed angrily. Are you out of your mind? Raising food prices. Have you forgotten how Grant met his end? That foolish baron is utterly insane, and the power he wields is evidently substantial. That archer seems quite formidable. The fat merchant said resentfully. Then what are we to do? We are businessmen and wealthy individuals. There's no way we can use our money to support those pests. This is entirely inconceivable. And I am the son of Viscount Will. How dare he lay a hand on me? Absolutely unthinkable, stated the bearded merchant. Haha, Viscount Will, isn't Grant that foolish pig? Stop dreaming, you must realize that this baron is a madman. By the way, I have more news for you. The fat merchant remarked furiously. That imbecile baron has led a raid on Grant's home. I'm afraid all of Grant's food is now in his possession, so don't think we can raise food prices now. Even if we dared, we wouldn't be able to stop him. His food reserves are already substantial. The fat merchant said in frustration. What? How could he have the gall? That belongs to Viscount Will. The fat merchant said indignantly. Damn it, damn it. How dare this fool? Cried the frightened merchants. For a brief time, they were all filled with anger and fear. Searching their homes was nearly as distressing for him as taking their lives. All their family wealth is contained here. If their home is seized, everything will be lost. Then what are we supposed to do? Someone inquired, sounding frightened. Either leave this place, or you must confront him. Another individual remarked harshly. The expense of leaving, including food, transport, and protection, is significant, and more critically, winter is approaching. This situation is too perilous. If you're not cautious, a misfortune could occur. Thus, I propose that our only option is to fight against him. Eliminate him and place another in his stead as a baron. We can keep profiting. What do you think? The overweight merchant proclaimed viciously. But, those are nobles. Slaying a noble results in execution. Furthermore, are we strong enough for this? It likely isn't enough. The merchant with glasses retorted, frustrating. Indeed, this is not feasible. Killing nobles is excessively dangerous. Several individuals expressed panic and voiced concerns, although some appeared to support this proposition. That's correct, we have run out of time. Winter is nearing, and the uncharted lands are extremely hazardous. If we encounter bandits, we have nothing. We might even perish. The merchant with glasses stated. Rather than that, it's better to take him out. I can send 10 individuals. They are all level 1 professionals and very formidable. Then 2 or 3 more people voiced agreement, but this is clearly insufficient. While 20 or 30 level 1 professionals alongside a few level 2 professionals may seem like a lot, in reality, it's not significantly helpful. At this moment, the fat merchant who spoke first said, I have a strategy. What's the strategy? Another merchant inquired. I just received word that Viscount Will's Red Knight bandits have returned to Greystone Village to plunder. The specific details should be available shortly, so we just need to wait a bit longer and coordinate with them from both inside and outside. This will surely eliminate that wretched baron. The hefty merchant stated viciously. Once these words were spoken, the entire room fell silent, but then it erupted with excitement. Viscount Will. Other merchants said and exclaimed. Really or not? I know the Red Knight bandit group. It is a powerful bandit group with level 4 professionals. Are they really coming? Merchant with glass said in confident. Of course it's true. The fat grain merchant smiled sinisterly, his eyes full of evil light, and said. That guy Omar is dead, and only Matt German is left. If we can kill him, this Greystone village will become Viscount Will's. Viscount Will is very interested in this matter, so he is ready to give it a try, and we just need to help them succeed. From now on, we have the final say in this Greystone village, understand? Upon hearing this, the grain merchants became excited and expressed their opinions without hesitation. Well, it's settled. When the Red Knight bandits come together, we will rebel and kill them. Fatty merchant in vigor. Hee hee. It's all that damn idiot's fault. Other merchant voice out their thought. He actually wants us noble and wealthy people to raise those damn untouchables. He is really looking for death. Yes, kill him. Merchant with glass said in hateful. Their attitudes soon became unified, so I wait and see. As if nothing happened. However, just a few days passed. That Templar marksman, Sheen, suddenly came back. Lord, a group of people came from the mountains 2 or 3 hours north of the city. If I guessed correctly, their target should be us. Sheen said. Upon hearing this, Raymond immediately understood. It seems that those so-called bandits are here. Sheen, how many are there in number? What's their strength? How's their strength? Raymond asked. Lord, there are about 30 of them. Most of them are level 1 and level 2 professionals. Then there are 5 level 3 professionals and 2 level 4 professionals. They are basically warriors. For us, the threat is very small. Sheen said calmly. Really? Ha ha. After saying this, Raymond was also happy and said. In this case, that guy, Sheen, next actions are left to you. Remember, safety first, and capture them as much as possible. Worry not, my lord, that I will complete the mission successfully. Sheen nodded, turned and left, but at the same time. Huber, the Templar archer, suddenly entered, and said, Lord, I notice that the grain merchants seem to be taking action. They seem to be gathering troops. What do you think we are going to do next? Grain merchant. Raymond was stunned for a moment, then he immediately reacted and muttered. So these guys are in the same group. Raymond murmured. Those gangs of robbers are coming, these grain merchants who have been quiet for several days are also moving. Do you think this is a coincidence? No fool can believe it. Therefore, the only possibility is that they are in the same group. Prepare to have an internal and external cooperation. Thinking of this, Raymond showed a little sneer and fierce light in his eyes. Very good, I didn't plan to do anything to you at first, but since you want to die so much, that's just right. Now I can ransack your home in peace. Huh. Raymond snorted coldly. Then he said it directly and quickly. Sheen, Huber, go directly and kill those guys. One by one, anyone involved in this matter will be killed. Remember, be quiet and don't alert others. I will, my lord. Huber reply. Understood. My lord. Let's go now. Sheen said toward Huber. It's just a few grains, and the armed forces are not on the same level as them. So in less than an hour, those grain merchants in the east of the city who thought they were sneaking around and hiding trouble were suddenly taken advantage of by Sheen, Huber and the others. At the same time, a large number of copper coins, silver coins, gold coins, and even magic cores were moved in front of Raymond. Especially the magic core. There are actually more than 100, they are 103 level 1 magic core, 22 level 2 magic core, 5 level 3 magic core, total 130. In other words, after this wave, Raymond's army of the Temple Castle has directly improved qualitatively. The quantity has directly doubled. Became enough. 139 Templar pikemen, 30 Templar halberdier, 9 Templar archer, 2 Templar marksmen. As for the food, not to mention, it all belongs to him. It's a huge amount of money. Then it's time to watch those clowns' performances. Ha. Viscount Will. Wait for me. If I can't trick you this time, I won't call myself Raymond. Raymond murmured, and then quickly began to recruit an army, and then began his layout. Night came soon, darkness descends on the earth, some uninvited guests slowly appeared outside Greystone Village. Hail, is this a rotten place? It doesn't look like much. Do you need to be so careful? Why don't you just go in? A burly warrior over 2 meters tall with fat ears and a big head said with contempt on his face. It can be seen that he is very confident in his strength. And this is also correct, his name is Manduo. He is among the 4 level 4 advanced warriors of the Red Knight Bandit group. He is indeed very formidable. Even some monsters at the same level do not match his strength. There are quite a few, please use your brain. Don't overlook that Matt German is present. Are you ready to face him? Can you defeat him? The tall knight known as Hale remarked coldly. Upon hearing this name, Manduo appeared disheartened, but he still replied resolutely. So what? He is just one person here. Are we scared of him if we unite our forces? I don't want anything to go awry, do you understand? Hale said coldly, then waved his hand and continued, be cautious, don't attract attention. Enter first and assess the situation. Also, the grain merchants in this city will work with us. They are all associates of Lord Viscount Will. Be careful then and avoid any issues, you know. Hale instructed the other robbers. Aye. The other robbers nodded quietly, but at that moment, an unexpected event occurred. Wuss. Wuss. In the quiet and dark night, 2 arrows suddenly struck silently, penetrating Hale's thighs. Then puff. Puff, puff, puff. This shock caused them to drop to the ground and perish. They couldn't even remain standing during the skirmish. Enemy attack. Manduo shouted. Enemy attack. Echoed the other robbers. Arm yourselves and prepare for battle. Hale's expression changed dramatically as he clutched his thigh and yelled. But at this instant, a calm and indifferent voice floated over. If I were you, I would opt for surrender instead of courting death, wouldn't you agree? Who? Who's there? Come out. Manduo yelled furiously, an aura of martial art chi radiating from his body, appearing extremely impressive. But at this moment, phew. 2 more silent arrows launched, their speed astonishingly swift. Aimed directly at him. Nonetheless, Manduo is also a level 4 advanced warrior proficient in martial art. In this critical moment, he reacted swiftly and managed to swing his giant sword, deflecting one of the arrows with a clang. However, the other arrow pierced his right arm simultaneously, resulting in a slap, and blood gushed out. Extremely horrifying. Next time, I will eliminate you. If you doubt it, you can test it. The calm and indifferent voice resounded again, leaving Hale and Manduo speechless. They were even frightened. You're a marksman. Who are you? Hale asked, his face pale. Da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. At this moment, they heard footsteps suddenly approaching from the quiet Greystone village, growing louder and more numerous. Until finally, over 100 troops from the temple castle emerged from the Greystone village. Surrounded in all directions, as soon as the scene happened, whether it's Manduo, Hale, or others, they were all in despair. No, it's impossible, how could there be so many? Hale asked in shock and continued asking, who are you? Who are you? They could not believe their eyes. The difference in numbers and strength felt like an enormous mountain, weighing them down so heavily that they couldn't even lift their heads. Drop your weapons, cease resistance, surrender, and you can live. Otherwise, you will die. At this moment, the calm and emotionless voice of Sheen rang out. Sheen stood on the low city wall, holding the bow and arrow in his hand and aiming at them, and it wasn't only him. Pogren, Huber, and the other Templar archers were doing the same. Altogether, 10 bows and arrows were aimed at them. Above, the arrows glimmered with a cold light and sharp edges. It felt like the Grim Reaper's scythe, instilling fear in bandits like them and stripping them of any courage to fight back. Some individuals began to toss down their weapons, quietly holding their heads and kneeling. And then more and more joined in. Until everyone surrendered. Clearly, they were just bandits, not an army, and they did not wish to die. In this critical moment between life and death, they would certainly feel weak and could never maintain their resolve. However, at this moment, they saw Sheen suddenly wave his hand, and then the Templar archers raised their weapons and shot at the arms of the enemies who were kneeling and surrendering. Ah! It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. Screams erupted, but no one dared to utter another word. Take them all away. Sheen waved his hand, then turned and left, returning to his routine. Well done, Sheen. Well done, ha ha ha. After receiving the good news, Raymond immediately felt elated. Now things are looking up. The crisis, food, and even the army's strength have all been perfectly resolved. Really well done. Thank you, Lord, for the praise, but what will we do about those individuals? Sheen inquired. Locate 2 individuals and return them, informing them that to save the others, they need 2 level 5 magic cores, and they must do this before winter arrives, otherwise, they will be annihilated. Raymond stated, his eyes shining brightly. Indeed, this is his strategy. The captives require a ransom. He doubted that the alleged Viscount Will would relinquish the power of the gangster group he had diligently built, so he intended to leverage that. It's all about maximizing gains, and if it doesn't work out, it's still worth discussing slowly. No true loss would occur. And if it succeeds, the griffin he has long desired might finally arrive. A level 3 griffin, a typical soldier, equates to a level 5 earth warrior. A warrior of this caliber is certainly held in high esteem even among the major noble cities, as it is a griffin. So majestic. Who doesn't admire such an impressive flying unit? He has really been dreaming of it for quite some time. How greedy he is. I understand, my lord, I will act on it right away, Sheen affirmed, quickly turning and departing. Simultaneously, Raymond began contemplating other matters. His current external threats have been resolved. The food scarcity is no longer an issue should he now address additional concerns. Without further ado, it would be prudent to tackle the dirty and chaotic living conditions in Greystone Village first. He truly could not endure this filthy place any longer. He promptly sought out Ermine to find some masons and blacksmiths to come here. Want to enhance your living standards? It must begin with food, clothing, shelter, and transportation. Food is sorted, but clothing and transportation remain unaddressed, so it is best to start with our living space. Cement, if we could procure this material, it would be tremendously convenient. Raymond reflected. Cement, an essential element for large-scale infrastructure development, is not only straightforward but also highly practical. His sole uncertainty lies in whether limestone exists in this world. After all, that substance is crucial. Soon, 3 masons and blacksmiths were brought to Raymond. After some discussions, he confirmed that whether limestone, iron, sand, or water, all of it was indeed available. Of course, this is not a challenge. I briefly mentioned the cement production process. Then Raymond allowed them to conduct their experiments independently. To be frank, he only understands the method superficially, which is far from sufficient, so allowing him to handle it alone will certainly be ineffective. However, these experienced individuals should face no major issues. After all, once you know the procedure, it's merely a question of ratios. Then Raymond contacted Ermine again, announcing that a batch of grain was released at a reduced price. He disbanded the hunting group and formed a new guard, which became his Temple Castle army. Everything is beginning to progress positively. The previously lifeless, rundown, and apathetic Greystone Village has started to appear more lively than ever before. This signifies transformation. Everyone wears a more vibrant expression, or rather, a smile. This is an exceedingly rare occurrence for them. Things are improving, and concurrently, a few days later, the 2 young thieves from the Red Knight bandit group who had been freed had already conveyed Raymond's terms to Viscount Will. Britain City. Castle of Viscount Will. What are you saying? Those fools have been caught. Why doesn't he perish for the ransom of 2 level 5 magic cores? Damn it. Who does he think he is? I'm going to eliminate him. An enraged voice erupted from the mouth of the elderly Viscount Will, instilling fear in all the servants within the Viscount Will family castle, causing them to tremble and remain still. To them, the Viscount. No, he is purely malevolent. Brutal. A monstrous fiend. So many have lost their lives at his hands, no one fears him. Father, don't let your anger overwhelm you. If there's an issue, it needs addressing. A composed voice interjected. A middle-aged man clad in noble knight's armor spoke coldly and steadily. His presence radiates remarkable martial chi. It is magnificent, sparkling, and incredibly formidable at first glance, even more so than those level 4 advanced warriors. This is a level 5 strongman, a level 5 earth knight. Additionally, he is also the greatest asset of Viscount Will. Evan, you are my beloved son. What do you propose we do about this situation? Damn it. The Omar fellow is clearly dead, yet how can they still possess such power? Viscount Will inquired. Is it that Matt German? Father, Matt German's capabilities are quite impressive, and he has the potential to become an Earth Knight, so I suspect he is involved, right? Evan replied casually. Upon hearing this, Viscount Will's expression shifted drastically. What? Evan, are you saying he is already a level 5 Earth Knight? How is that feasible? Viscount Will asked in disbelief. Furthermore, no other options should exist, and if that were not true, we must not offend them. Evan remarked casually. What should we do then? Is it truly necessary for us to provide them with 2 level 5 magic cores? It's a possibility. Viscount Will expressed anxiously. Given his rank and power, he doesn't consider being a level 4 professional significant. His son, his support, is a formidable level 5 Earth Knight. But what if the adversary is also level 5? This poses a serious challenge. Unless absolutely essential, he cannot afford to provoke such an opponent. Although he is greedy, he is not foolish. After all, it's level 5. 2 cores are undoubtedly out of the question. However, we should part with 1. After all, Manduo and Hale are our vital subordinates. Losing them would significantly decrease our revenue, making certain troublesome situations even more difficult. Evan asserted while shaking his head. Upon hearing this, Viscount Will's expression turned somewhat ambiguous. He knew his son was correct. Being the most potent military force at his disposal, the Red Knight bandit group is even stronger than his own guards. He invested considerable effort into it, transforming his bandit group into one of the most powerful organizations among numerous nearby cities. This generates substantial annual income for them. However, if this underhanded tactic is thwarted and significant losses occur, he will surely be implicated, resulting in severe repercussions. Therefore, he must prioritize resolving this situation. The individual must be rescued first. But are you truly willing to part with the level 5 magic core? You understand its value. I had originally intended to pass it on to you. My dear son, are you genuinely ready to give it away? Viscount Will said with regret. To him, a level 5 magic core is of heirloom quality, and he possesses only one or two. Parting with one would feel more painful than facing death. Father, I'm merely keeping it with them temporarily. It's inconsequential, haha. Evan retorted with a cold sneer, as long as they permit it, we can undoubtedly reclaim it from them. It's just that winter is approaching, posing additional challenges and a bit of danger. After this winter, I can assess the situation firsthand. Even if Matt German reaches level 5, it won't be a concern. His ability will certainly not surpass mine. When the time arrives, they will pay for this. Really? Viscount Will's eyes brightened. Then he grimaced and declared, all right, it's settled then. Soon, under the dark of night, Viscount Will's envoy discreetly departed with a level 5 magic core. A few days later, he reached Greystone Village. Dear Baron, I ask for your forgiveness. There may be some confusion between us, but it is of little consequence. On behalf of Viscount Will, I extend his apology. Please accept it. The messenger placed the box containing the magic core before Raymond. Raymond immediately chuckled, then opened the box for a glimpse. A gleaming purple magic core, akin to the size of a fist, caught his attention. Simultaneously, the familiar and pleasant sound of the system prompts resonated again. Ding. Recruitment resources detected. Would you like to recruit level 3 ordinary soldiers, Griffins? In that moment, Raymond's eyes brightened with a smile. It has arrived, at last. Ha ha ha, I finally obtained the Griffin I had been wishing for. He then closed the lid and spoke calmly. I've gathered the items, you may leave. The messenger was momentarily taken aback. He hadn't anticipated such ease. Yet, he still smiled and remarked, thank you, Lord Baron. May I ask where Hale, Manduo, and the others are? If it's not too much trouble, could you send someone to guide me there? Guide you there? Why should I do that? Raymond replied, gazing at him with a half-smile. This expression and his words made the messenger's heart race, and his expression changed drastically. No, Lord Baron, it appeared the messenger realized that Raymond was about to abandon him. In a rush of anxiety, he implored, Lord Baron, didn't you agree to? Before he could finish, he was interrupted. I'm referring to 2 level 5 magic cores, and only one is here, so what exactly did I promise you? Raymond spoke in a disappointed tone. The messenger broke into a cold sweat and went pale. He understood, it was over, it was over. Perhaps the other party never intended to allow him to leave in the first place. Leave now, you can still survive, otherwise. Haha, you'll have to find out on your own. Raymond stated calmly, causing the messenger to shake with fear. Reluctantly, it had no option but to quickly turn and depart. At this moment, it had surpassed its capabilities, so it must leave. It doesn't wish to perish. Witnessing this, Raymond laughed heartily and allowed him to escape. Absolutely not. If it weren't for the aim of tricking the other party for the ransom, he would have eliminated them all. What a farce, he is far from ignorant. Now that they have drawn the attention of Greystone Village, this means they will pay a price. And the cost. It's death. All right, let's check the goods. Raymond mumbled as he exited the castle with a spring in his step and headed towards the training ground. Simultaneously, he said with reluctance, System, I wish to recruit. Ding. You have successfully recruited a level 3 ordinary soldier, the Griffin. Ding. Congratulations, you have successfully recruited the 3rd level ordinary soldier, the Griffin. You have attained 30 years of Haven martial art chi cultivation, and you have acquired the Griffin bloodline. At that instant, the martial art chi within Raymond surged unexpectedly. Then, his strength began to escalate instantly. He directly broke into the category of level 5 Earth Warrior. More importantly, he now possessed the Griffin bloodline. This power significantly enhanced his bodily strength and quality. He even gained a bloodline ability, beast transformation. Griffin form. These powers and skills melded into his body, and in a flash, it felt as though he had mastered them, as if he had practiced tirelessly before. It's incredibly cool. Truly a product of the system, it's simply amazing. Raymond became exhilarated and transformed into a griffin form. This even allowed him to directly convert into a griffin hero. Strength saw a remarkable increase. Simultaneously, a colossal mythical creature standing 3 to 4 meters tall materialized before him. This is the third-level ordinary soldier of the temple castle, and it is also a flying and monstrous soldier griffin. It boasts radiant feathers and fur, enormous wings, a lion-like rear body, an eagle-like head, and its forelimbs are adorned with golden eagle feathers. It appears majestic, full of grace. With a thump, the griffin knelt before Raymond, saying with respect, "Griffin Owen, greet the esteemed lord. Welcome to our team, Owen. Stand up, you don't need to be so formal." Raymond remarked with a smile, then gently patted Owen's grand forelimb, saying softly, "Can I experience your power, Owen?" "Certainly, to honor the great lord, your request is essential, whether it involves defeating the enemy or any other task, I am capable," Owen declared confidently. "No, I mean let me experience your power. Demonstrate your strength and strike me," Raymond said with a grin while shaking his head. Owen was momentarily taken aback and, hesitating, replied, "But trust me, Owen, what do you think this is?" Raymond inquired, raising his hand. Instantly, his hand transformed with a buzzing sound, illuminating the space. Within moments, powerful griffin claws replaced his hands. "Is this the griffin hero turning into a beast?" Owen exclaimed in astonishment. He was pleasantly surprised and continued, "As expected from you, my lord, you truly possess the heroic might of our griffin clan. My lord, your power is immense. So come on, let's see for ourselves. I want to find out what my current strength is like," Raymond said, smiling. "I understand, my lord, please be cautioned." Owen inhaled deeply, then swiftly raised his claws, tearing downward through the air and forcefully striking toward Raymond. Boom. However, Raymond countered with his griffin claws. They crashed together. Both quaked and, seemingly unable to stabilize himself, Raymond took a few steps back. But while he moved only 2 or 3 steps, Owen staggered 4 or 5 steps back. There was nearly double the disparity. "My lord, your strength is remarkable, far surpassing mine. You are incredibly powerful," Owen stated without hesitation. This realization also made Raymond aware his current power should be considered exceptional among level 5 professionals, right? After all, not only is he formidable, but he also wields martial art chi and temple sword technique. Combined with these abilities, his prowess is undoubtedly superior, even beyond expectation. Excellent. The future looks bright. Ha ha ha. Raymond found it hard to contain his laughter. He then gave Owen a pat and said, "Owen, you can roam freely next, as long as you don't stray too far. If anything happens, I'll summon you again." "I understand, great lord. If you need anything from me, be sure to call." Owen responded swiftly, flapping his wings and soaring high. He let out a mighty roar in the sky. Kui. The roar was so powerful that it seemed to echo throughout all of Greystone Village. Hiss. What is that sound? A farmer inquired. A monster. Look. What's that up in the sky? A flying creature. What is it? No, it's a plane. No. It's a bird. No. It's Superman. It's terrifying. It looks incredibly strong. People shouted. It's over, it's over. Why is there such a formidable monster here? Is it here to attack us? A woman cried out in distress. What do I do now? It's too frightening. I don't even have the courage to look up at it, said one person in the plaza. No, look, why did it fly away? It didn't seem like it wanted to attack us. Could it be that our lord has a magical beast? A captive monster? How can that be? This is impossible. This creature looks far too fearsome. It can't be a captive monster. This can't be true. A slender farmer exclaimed in disbelief. It really flew away. It's gone. A frightened woman said. Owen's dramatic display sent a significant shockwave through the entire Greystone Village. The sight of the Griffin family was undeniably daunting, standing 3 to 4 meters tall, with vast wings, a robust and powerful body, and sharp griffin claws. All in all, no one would be foolish enough to question its strength. The impact was undoubtedly immense. Almost the whole population of Greystone Village was caught up in this event, making it difficult to settle down. Raymond was momentarily taken aback, then he laughed. While Owen's actions were indeed a bit ostentatious, it no longer mattered. Now that all internal and external issues had been resolved, being more conspicuous was not a problem. In fact, it could even elevate the spirits and confidence of some villagers in Greystone. For him, it was beneficial and harmless. Besides, wealth and prestige don't return to one's hometown, just like flaunting fine clothing in the dark. With such strength and a powerful Griffin unit, why shouldn't he showcase it? He wanted to. Then Raymond began to ponder once more. Calculating the time, it should be nearly the same. Winter is coming, and Uncle Matt and the others should return soon. This way, it should conclude perfectly and await the arrival of winter. I also hope this winter remains stable, otherwise, if something goes wrong in winter, it could lead to a significant issue. Raymond murmured. When winter arrives, temperatures plummet, often reaching 20 to 30 degrees below zero. In such conditions, all activities slow down, and everyone is confined by the cold. Under these circumstances, there will undoubtedly be fewer troubles and challenges, but this doesn't imply their complete absence. On the contrary, when environmental conditions are harsh, it's an issue if there are no problems. If problems arise, they will likely be serious. Therefore, stability is crucial in winter. Especially during the cold wave in February, it's best to minimize movement. It's preferable to endure it and stretch it out. Sure enough, early the following morning, Matt German and Niggs finally returned from their long journey. However, the changes in Greystone Village, or more specifically, the shifts in the Temple Castle's forces and those of Greystone Village, profoundly impacted and shocked Matt German. Hey, Raymond, is this a level 5 monster? Why is it in our Greystone Village? Isn't it dangerous? Matt German stiffened as he gazed at the menacing-looking Griffin Owen, expressing disbelief. Such a powerful monster, how could it appear in their Greystone Village? Ha ha ha, don't worry, Uncle Matt, he's with us, so we definitely be safe. Come on, let me introduce you, Uncle Matt, this is Griffin Owen. Owen, this is my Uncle Matt. Raymond said with a grin. A lion, a griffin. Matt German was momentarily stunned. Obviously, this name was unfamiliar to him. But regardless, the reality was in front of him, and he had no choice but to accept it. This was all true. Hello, I'm Owen. Don't worry, don't be afraid of me. We are all loyal to the Lord, and I won't harm my own people, so relax. Owen said casually. Matt German quickly composed himself and promptly offered a knightly salute to Owen. Then he added, Hello Owen, I'm Matt German. It's a pleasure to meet you. As for Niggs, he was less formal. After all, everyone belongs to the Temple Castle army, so he was naturally acquainted with these formidable griffins. In a way, they symbolize their Temple Castle. Uncle Matt, what did you bring back this time? Raymond asked eagerly. I watched Matt German swiftly removing the package from behind him. He carefully placed it in front of Raymond and exclaimed, Lord Baron, this is the outcome of our hunting expedition. 2 level 4 magic cores. Level 4 magic core. Raymond was momentarily taken aback, feeling surprised. Although he now possesses a griffin, there are still very few of those level 2 enhanced military types, the Templar marksman. You should know that prior to this, he only had 2, but now that number has doubled. That's correct. Level 4 magic core, because you mentioned wanting a higher level magic core. So, Niggs and I took it upon ourselves to travel to the Palos Plateau and traded for a level 4 magic core with others. Matt German spoke cautiously, appearing somewhat concerned that he may have done something wrong. You did an excellent job, Uncle Matt and Niggs, thank you for your efforts. Recognizing the other person's feelings, Raymond suddenly smiled. A level 4 magic core ultimately is the Templar marksman from the Temple Castle. Reflecting on how straightforward and brutish they were when confronting the Red Knight bandits before, you understand their worth. So, naturally, he will not be dissatisfied. Then, Matt German suddenly inquired. Lord Baron, what happened with the Red Knight bandit group? Don't worry, everything is alright. All issues have been resolved. Raymond immediately replied with a smile. Matt German was momentarily taken aback, but when he noticed Sheen, Huber, Pogren, and even Owen, he couldn't help but chuckle. Their Greystone village has become so formidable now. It's merely scraps from some bandits, so there must be no issue. It must become or perish. Then we can simply wait for winter to arrive. It should be just a few days away. Matt German exclaimed. In the past, the onset of winter placed them under considerable stress. But now, that anxiety seems to have vanished. He now sees magic and hope in Raymond, so he no longer fears the approaching perilous winter. Because he feels they can manage all this trouble. The future is bright. Viscount Will was truly suffering. Britain City. Castle of Viscount Will. Waste. 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 You worthless waste, what have you done? I'll kill you. Ah. Ah. In front of Viscount Will, holding a sharp sword, the envoy who had gone to Greystone Village lay in a pool of blood, pierced by numerous swords. The furious Viscount Will unleashed his fury. Because he truly did not expect that the insufferable Baron of Greystone Village would dare to exploit others. After seizing his magic core, he still has the audacity to turn against him. Damn it. And in this situation, not only will he endure significant losses, but how is he any different from a fool? A humiliation. At this moment, he felt immensely humiliated and provoked. He was so enraged that he trembled all over, wishing he could dispatch troops to Greystone Village right now to sever that damn Raymond's head. Vengeance. But it's not only him, at this moment, his son, a very formidable level 5 Earth Knight, his expression is quite unpleasant. It seemed as though he had swallowed a mouse, his complexion was pale and exceedingly unattractive. He abruptly rose and declared, "Father, I take responsibility for this situation, but don't worry, I will resolve it. In the spring of next year, I will personally lead the troops to raid that foolish Baron. And Doran seems poised to make a breakthrough. He may very well succeed this winter. When that happens, I will join forces with him, even if they possess level 5. I will ensure they face consequences. Trust me." What? Viscount Will trembled all over. Then he became overjoyed. "All right. Don't worry, Evan, you are my beloved son, of course, I appreciate you. Let them survive another winter. After spring, you can utilize all my troops." Viscount Will expressed with enthusiasm and continued, "How dare they insult me? Humph. They must pay for it. Eliminate him, Evan, we will certainly do it. I am the esteemed Viscount Will." In the final days of winter, everything grew quiet and calm, but only Raymond and his family's castle of the Blaine family remained full of life. This was because previously, the masons and blacksmiths in Greystone Village had assisted him in experimenting with restoring the cement, and after a degree of alignment with the properties of this world's materials, its effect and durability appeared to improve, so Raymond intended to utilize this final time to renovate his castle manor. After all, those structures were castles. In reality, they were merely some stone houses. It was genuinely uncomfortable for him to reside there. "Lord Baron, you are truly remarkable. These materials known as cement are actually so extraordinary. It has genuinely opened my eyes," Matt German remarked with admiration while standing at the construction site. Throughout these days, in response to Raymond's numerous magical innovations, he was becoming increasingly amazed and astonished. Simultaneously, he was becoming more and more insensible. He truly perceived that his little nephew was receiving blessings and favor from some kind of god. Everything seemed unbelievable, it was truly magical, but he also understood that it must be a positive development. This material is indeed quite remarkable. It's unfortunate that winter is approaching, leaving us with little time. Otherwise, we could completely transform and rebuild our entire Greystone Village. Eventually, ours will no longer be a Greystone Village, but rather a city. A genuine city," Raymond stated with gleaming eyes. "The living conditions in this world are so poor, with nearly all of them being wooden houses, at least the vast majority in their Greystone Village are like this. Within the entirety of Greystone Village, only the Blaine family's castle is a stone house. But the issue is that this type of dwelling is also quite inadequate for living. There is a complete lack of comfort or elegance." It was only then that he recognized the necessity of cement. He believed that cement is essential for urban development and extensive infrastructure projects. It can be utilized in constructing roads, buildings, dams, roadways, bridges, and underground facilities, among others. The impact is certainly significant. This is vital if he desires to see Greystone Village grow, as his own abilities and the surrounding conditions play a role in it. Urban development is also crucial. Therefore, he intended to demolish everything and rebuild from the ground up. Create a fresh and splendid Greystone city. Yes, Lord Baron, with our current capabilities, we can certainly establish a city. With this marvelous substance called cement, we just need to wait until the winter concludes before we begin taking action. Once spring arrives, everything will come back to life, and we can then commence constructing our new city. This is truly exhilarating," Matt German expressed wistfully. "After spring," Raymond pondered, then nodded. "Once spring begins, it will only require a few months anyway. Most of this time has passed, and these few months will be inconsequential. By the way, Uncle Matt, do we currently have sufficient food supplies? And what about the heating resources? There shouldn't be any major issue, right?" Raymond inquired again. Rest assured, there will certainly be no issue. Those greedy, unscrupulous grain dealers had an excess of food. That supply is more than enough for us to last for several months. Who would have imagined that you would actually raid their houses? Ha ha ha. Matt German couldn't help but chuckle. In reality, when he initially learned the news, he felt a bit anxious. Grain merchants, everyone knows that it is nearly impossible for someone without connections, or a person with weak connections, to become a grain merchant. Behind every unscrupulous grain trader, there are powerful individuals backing and controlling them. After all, this is their source of income. In this world, food is undeniably a great profit and a major cash cow. Thus, in their subconscious, they never contemplated daring to confront those detestable unscrupulous grain dealers. But Raymond is unconcerned about it. Disobedient. Simply eliminate him and seize his assets. With such little power, do they really think they hold any significance? How can that be? Raymond doesn't act this way at all. To him, it was also his source of income, which greatly benefited him. They're merely a group of foolish swine. I hold no fear of them. Do they truly believe I am terrified of them? These imbeciles will be eliminated if I wish. Unfortunately, they possess too few magic cores, not even a level 4 one. So impoverished. Raymond lamented. After hearing this, Matt German's eyes sparkled. Lord Baron, if you genuinely require the magic core, we can contemplate going out for more hunts once winter arrives. Matt German suggested. Raymond was momentarily taken aback and exclaimed in astonishment, out hunting? Is that even possible? Couldn't this mean danger when winter arrives? Yes, when winter comes, temperatures drop dramatically. The environment becomes harsh, which will undeniably pose a risk. However, Matt German nodded, his eyes narrowed, and continued, but it's not entirely futile. Pogren, Huber, and others are at level 3, Sheen, Niggs, and others are at level 4, and even Owen and others are at level 5. They should manage well. If it's merely a small-scale hunt, I believe it's entirely doable, and more importantly, it can help us address our food and meat shortage. Raymond was taken aback for a moment and said slowly, meat, yes meat. Yes, we have food, but meat remains an issue. Although after raiding the homes of those ruthless food companies, the senior officials must have ample meat to eat, those at the bottom surely don't want to experience life without it. While it is quite good to ensure they have enough food and avoid starvation, he felt that if he had the capability, it would be reasonable to allow the people in his territory to enjoy meat and have a more fulfilling life. Right. Contemplating this, he nodded and replied, I understand, Uncle Matt, you should give it a try then. Matt German nodded and added, Lord Baron, there's one more thing. What? Raymond asked in curiosity. Refugee. Matt German stated once more. Refugee. Raymond was taken aback briefly, then comprehended. Are you referring to the people who fled? Exactly. Matt German nodded, his tone weighed with emotion. With the onset of winter, the environment becomes extremely harsh, resulting in food scarcity in many small fiefdom villages. Typically, there are only two options in such times, either self-village resources or expel the elderly, young, and weak to reduce food strain. But there are few who are so heartless. Therefore, most often, when winter arrives, there will be a multitude of homeless individuals in the wilderness. Upon hearing this, Raymond fell silent, contemplating waste utilization. Isn't that essentially cannibalism? For him, he couldn't bear the thought, yet he recognized that it was a harsh reality he couldn't change. Thus, he shook his head and declared, if refugees come, we should accept them all. I feel our population in Greystone Village is too small. When we need to demolish and rebuild in early spring next year, the larger the population, the better. However, the number of refugees may far exceed your expectations. Matt German cautioned. They possess ample food at present, but this is solely relative to their existing population of over 1,000 individuals. So, what if it expands to 5,000? What about 10,000? At that point, the food supply might be inadequate, and this poses a genuine issue. It's not a concern. Since we can hunt outside, it shouldn't be a significant issue. Let's deal this matter later. However, Raymond still nodded, he grasped the reasoning. Yet, if it needs to be done, it must be done. After all, the boat will naturally head straight once it reaches the bridge. Additionally, he has already bent the rules. He really doubts that this minor problem can hinder him. I understand. Matt German nodded while simultaneously laughing. As a subordinate, it is his responsibility to clarify interests for the Lord. But psychologically, he still hoped Raymond would take action. After all, if he were truly selfish, he wouldn't have remained as steadfast initially. I aim to assist Raymond in navigating this predicament. Actions reflect character. To be honest, he's genuinely fine. Nothing occurred in the following days. At most, the inhabitants of Greystone Village were initially stunned, terrified, and fearful about the presence of the Griffin Owen, but gradually shifted to feelings of surprise, admiration, envy, excitement, and joy. For they realize that this creature appears exceptionally powerful. The frightful flying beast is actually their esteemed lord's pet. And this is, for them, excellent news. If Greystone Village can be shielded by such a formidable creature, then they will be completely secure throughout the coming winter, and even beyond. Long live the Lord. Long live the Lord. A few days later, winter set in, heavy snow blanketing the area overnight. The temperature across the entire Greystone Village dropped sharply by at least 30 to 40 degrees. Completely covered in white. This is winter, and it truly lives up to its reputation. It's freezing. Standing atop the newly constructed Blaine family castle and gazing into the distance, Raymond sighed. Everything in sight was white. The ground was as white as snow, snowflakes danced in the air, and the cold was biting. And, it all happened overnight. This accumulation resulted in a layer of snow thick enough to submerge one's legs. The severity of this winter is somewhat beyond his expectations. Although the original body retains memories of such experiences, it's one thing to recall, but entirely different to endure it firsthand. This is a completely different experience. If we consider what is stated on Earth, body temperatures may be at least 30 or 40 degrees below zero. Isn't it cold? It's no wonder it feels frigid. It's genuinely freezing. Even though it poses little threat to his current level 5 professional strength, it can be utterly deadly for ordinary individuals, including the frail, elderly, sick, and disabled. Even for those less capable professionals, level 1, level 2. This may be hard to ignore. A natural calamity. It's genuinely alarming. I didn't anticipate it would be so chilly in the early winter. Lord Baron, it appears that this year's cold wave in February will be severe. Tax collector Ermine was bundled in multiple layers of thick clothing, but he continued to shiver, his face dark and rigid from the cold. He is just an ordinary individual. Thus, such a natural disaster is a truly crushing blow to him. And this is merely the onset of winter. It will shift to winter after half a month of early winter. Then, a month later arrives the most daunting phase of winter, the cold wave in February. In summary, contemplating this can make your skin crawl and induce a feeling of asphyxiation. There's no other choice, just take your time, that's all you can do. Raymond shook his head, then added, by the way, Ermine, arrange for someone to deliver some meat door to door. Meat. Ermine was momentarily taken aback. But he still nodded in agreement. Lord Baron, is it pig or monster meat? Let's begin with the pig. The monster meat will chill after a while. Raymond replied. There are two varieties of meat in this world, monster meat and pork. The latter, as indicated, serves as a general term. Its actual meaning refers to ordinary meat specifically cultivated for consumption. Aside from being meat, it essentially offers no benefits. It's only slightly better than standard grains. Then, there's monster meat. Monster meat possesses magical properties, therefore consuming this type of meat brings numerous advantages, such as enhancing the body, dispelling warmth, and potentially saving lives. It's feasible. So, in a way, this monster meat is also one of the essentials for winter. Almost all of the pork reserves he possesses derive from the previous family stock, as well as the illicit goods from the unscrupulous grain. Thus, the quantity is quite reasonable. As for the monster meat, naturally, it is far scarcer. After seizing some from the house, there remains a limited original storage capacity, plus there's hunting. It seems there's one additional source, but still not much. Hence, I can only use it sparingly. I understand, Ermine smiled wanly and nodded quietly. If it were him before, he would certainly have contested the idea of distributing meat door to door. To him, this was absurd. It is already an immense kindness to permit him to have food. Offering me meat. How could this be? What is this? What utter unfairness. But he didn't dare to voice. And for some reason, he now harbors a peculiar sentiment in his heart, that is Lord Baron. What a wonderful person. Good guy. He once believed it was a derogatory term, but now, that perception has changed. It appears that valuing others more, showing greater kindness, and harboring less resentment towards others is now considered appropriate. Some of his thoughts began to evolve. The following days were calm and secure, nothing occurred, yet Raymond realized that the amount of loot collected by Owen and the others was steadily increasing. Uncle Matt, does hunting become easier in winter? Why do I have a sense that your monster hunting skills are improving? Raymond inquired with curiosity. That's not quite right, Matt German shook his head and explained. Typically, the monsters that emerge in winter have a higher level than in other seasons. Winter is extremely cold, and the natural environment is very tough. Even low-level monsters tend to come out less frequently and mostly remain inactive. Thus, under normal circumstances, there are fewer level 1 and 2 monsters in winter. Higher-level monsters will be more prevalent. I understand now, Raymond suddenly comprehended. He then became intrigued and asked, well, Uncle Matt, have you encountered any stronger monsters recently? Level 4 or 5? I would like to try. You. Matt German was momentarily taken aback, but remembering Raymond's martial art chi that he had seen earlier, he felt at ease. He continued speaking, there are very few level 5 monsters around us. To my knowledge, there is only the Wolf King of the Wind Wolfles in the Asuka Mountains, the Fire Tiger in the dense forest to the north, and the Shadow Black Snake King. After a brief pause, Matt German cautiously advised him again, Raymond, while we are certainly strong now, I wouldn't recommend confronting them. First and foremost, the Gale Wolf King and the Shadow Black Snake King are both chieftains of their respective tribes and have numerous followers. They are quite challenging to handle. It is also very perilous. Raymond's eyes lit up, and he asked again, then, where's the Fiery Tiger? Matt German hesitated, shaking his head as he replied. Raymond, the Fiery Tiger in the dense forest to the north is exceedingly powerful. It is likely the most formidable level 5 monster. Neither the Gale Wolf King nor the Shadow Black Snake King would dare to provoke it, thus. I believe Owen feels the same. Then what if we possess 2 level 5 combat forces? Raymond inquired again. 2. Matt German was momentarily stunned and was about to respond. But suddenly, his pupils dilated in shock. Because the martial art chi power, which is characteristic of level 5 professionals, had unexpectedly manifested in Raymond. Hey, Raymond, have you reached level 5? Hiss. This, how could this be possible? Matt German gasped, his face filled with astonishment. It was beyond belief. Yes, and? Raymond smiled and then spoke something enigmatic again. Uncle Matt, those magic cores were incredibly beneficial for me. Upon hearing this, Matt German finally took a deep breath, then nodded firmly and said, if that's the case, I believe you can give it a try. Now they possess a total of 9 Templar archers and 4 Templar marksmen. If we combine them, Owen and Raymond. Perhaps you could give this a shot. Even if it fails, it's inconsequential. If you can't defeat them, just retreat. Raymond refrained from saying more, merely nodded, and commanded. Uncle Matt, please inform Owen, Sheen, and Niggs. Those under level 4 don't need to join. Those above level 4, come with us. Yes, Lord Baron. Matt German responded. It didn't take long and soon Raymond, Matt German, and the others, along with Owen, Niggs, and Sheen were all prepared and headed towards the northern dense forest. Northern dense forest, this is an unfamiliar forest approximately 2 days away from their gray stone village. Later, it became commonly referred to as the Northern Jungle. Despite lacking a name, it doesn't imply that it is safe. On the contrary, both the size and level of danger here are far greater than those in the Asuka mountain range. This area is home to many level 4 beings, and even a level 5 monster. The most notorious among them are the Fiery Tiger and the Shadow Black Snake King. Countless individuals have perished at their hands, and their life force has made these formidable monsters renowned. More than 2 days later, they arrived successfully and cautiously entered. Perhaps due to the onset of winter, even the northern dense forest, notorious for its monsters, felt remarkably tranquil now. Nothing seemed amiss, however, shortly after, the first wave of assaults commenced silently. Hiss. An abundance of snake hisses emerged from the snow-covered expanse. Matt German's demeanor shifted as he alerted, Raymond, everyone, stay vigilant. The many sounds indicate a group of snakes. This must be a swarm of shadow black snakes. From what he understood, while there are numerous snakes in the northern dense forest, they tend to avoid confrontation with level 5 monsters. They must be warning or threatening them, and it seems there's only one ruler of the northern dense forest. It must be the Shadow Black Snake King, right? Damn, I don't understand how we incited them. Soon, a multitude of Shadow Black Snake Kings appeared. There were levels 2, 3, and even level 4. They amassed in such numbers that they began encircling Raymond and the others. Then, the snakes writhed. An obviously formidable giant Shadow Black Snake slithered forth. It emerged before them. That is the Shadow Black Snake King. Humans, this is my domain, what brings you here? Do you seek to provoke a war with me? It then spoke, hissing its words coldly. But simultaneously, he was also gazing at the massive Owen with a degree of trepidation. What is this? Clearly, he had never encountered a mythical being like a griffin. Yet, his instincts were warning him. The other side is extremely perilous. Our aim is not you. Matt German was ready to clarify, but was cut off by Raymond signaling him. Uncle Matt, allow me to explain. Matt German was momentarily taken aback, then promptly retreated with his gaze lowered. It had been instinctive before, but now he realized he had overstepped. Raymond was the Baron. He held authority. So in this situation, he had no right to interject. Meanwhile, Raymond turned his attention to the adversary and stated calmly, "Move aside now, or I will eliminate you." As soon as these words were uttered, the entire area went utterly silent. Did the Shadow Black Snake King anticipate Raymond to be so bold and threatening? This infuriated him. There was a fierce glare in his eyes, and a powerful murderous intent radiated from his gaze. However, before he could react, Raymond abruptly sprang into action. Haven sword slash. Boom. In an instant, an enormous sword of holy light energy, nearly 2 to 3 meters long, surged directly towards the Shadow Black Snake King. The speed was so remarkable that he couldn't even respond. In this moment, it was undoubtedly a successful ambush. Lokter Ogar. The following moment, Raymond roared with fury, then advanced, releasing the martial art chi within him, and charged at the Shadow Black Snake King. Simultaneously, the 8 arrow volleys from the 4 elite temple archers struck. Wuss. 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 Their assault nearly annihilated the 8 Shadow Black Snakes in the already agitated Serpentine group. At the same time, the Griffin Owen and Matt German sprang into action as well. Ko. Owen soared by flapping his wings. Then he barreled down like a tempest. He collided with the Shadow Black Snake King. It was uncertain whether it was due to sheer strength or inherent dominance, but remarkably, the Shadow Black Snakes were like playthings in his grasp. He effortlessly ripped several of them apart. Though a few that managed to evade him pressed forward to attack Niggs, Sheen, and the others, they were all intercepted by Matt German, who had been on guard. Their battle strategy was highly logical, even flawless. Niggs, Sheen, and the other Templar marksmen handled long-range assaults, while Matt German provided protection. Owen charged at the foe. As for the mightiest Shadow Black Snake King among the adversaries, Raymond, who managed everything single-handedly. Moreover, despite it being his initial battle, Raymond's combat skills were so extraordinary that it was frightening. With impeccable precision in his swordsmanship, he completely overpowered the level 5 Shadow Black Snake King on his own. And what's more significant, this is merely his human form. In terms of combat power, obviously, his beast transformation is the Griffin form. Even more impressive. Haven sword technique, Haven slash. Raymond wields a longsword, striking down. Boom. In fact, several 1-meter-long sword energies surged forth. Like a fierce storm, they constricted towards the Shadow Black Snake King, who was hastily evading in front of him. However, unexpectedly, the creature seemed to finally respond. He swiftly avoided several sword energies, then let out a roar of fury. A clear, sharp blade launched from his mouth. Magic. Raymond's expression changed slightly. Simultaneously, his martial art chi erupted throughout his body as he withstood the wind blade momentarily. Luckily, he was fine. But at that moment, the Shadow Black Snake King attacked. He actually got close to him. He opened his sharp teeth and fangs, lunging at Raymond. Beast transform. Griffin form. Upon witnessing this scene, Raymond no longer concealed his power, instantly shifting into a griffin, and then slashing with his claws toward the 7-inch vital spot of the Shadow Black Snake King. Boom. The ground shuddered. This overwhelming force created a deep crater in the earth. Even more terrifying was that this strike completely shattered the 7-inch vital point of the Shadow Black Snake King. It split him into 2 pieces right then and there. It's over. Raymond exclaimed with joy. And the sight of this also astonished Matt German. He gasped in disbelief and exclaimed, "Hiss. What is this? Beast transformation." But at this moment, he had no time to be stunned or contemplate. Because the battle was still ongoing. But it was merely a one-sided massacre. With the demise of the Shadow Black Snake King, Raymond, now in Griffin form, alongside Owen and the others, struck terror into the remaining Shadow Black Snakes. It wasn't long before the ground turned red with blood, littered with corpses. These groups of Shadow Black Snakes, once so terrifying in the northern dense forest, were effortlessly eradicated by them. It appears that I still underestimated my strength. Raymond murmured.